Well, it's actually quite daunting to speak after Nigel. Next time I come back, I must see to it that I don't speak after him, because to be so witty at 8 o'clock in the morning is really an achievement. Anyway, the Commission will not be represented at political level this year in the IGF, and that's because Vice President Cruz is needed here in Brussels for the European Council meeting. As many of you know, it's the first time ever that all things digital is dominating the agenda of the European Council. So she unfortunately cannot travel to Bali. So it will be me leading the delegation, and it will consist of only 2 more people. So Michael Niebler, who's here, and Silvia Viciconte, who's not here, but who's the political officer in charge of the substance. So that's compact for you, referring to the principles that Nelly has laid down for the internet. We are very happy that the theme building bridges was retained, and actually we were the ones who suggested it. So of course there is also pride of authorship involved in the fact that we are very happy about that. But also the role of governments is clearly retained as the main session of the opening of the event. And I mean, Nigel has already referred to it. It's clear that the discussions in ITU, the wicket, and also the aftermath of the Snowden affair has made these themes inescapable, actually. I also regret the difficulties that were encountered to set up the IGF 2013. It was a real cliffhanger, and many thanks to those who made it happen finally. But apart from the monetary aspect of the whole thing, there was also another aspect, and that makes us feel that we should consider asking the UN in the future to change the way the host country is chosen. Because we have to be sure that certain conditions are fulfilled, such as security and freedom of expression, and those were also issues before the agreement was signed, actually. So I think that for an IGF forum it shouldn't be an issue, actually. So this, we think, will be important for the future as well. If we look at the substance of the matters, I already mentioned the PRISM affair. It has perhaps dented a bit the US as the stewards of forums like ICANN, ITU and OECD. But of course, where there is a vacuum, nature abhors it and wants to fill it, and I think that is clear that it should be for Europe to step up and perhaps make more of a dent in this debate. And of course, we still support and we still insist on the multi-stakeholder model, but it should also be truly multilateral. And we should also discuss a bit more what really multi-stakeholder decision-making entails. What do we mean by that? And so I think that this will be one occasion to really sit down and discuss about this. It's actually the first occasion we have to sit down and discuss this after what has happened, if you look back perhaps 8 months or so. We, as a Commission, we are still quite unhappy with the way the GAC has been working. As many of you are already aware, there have not been much improvement, and I'm not saying this just because it hasn't taken into proper account European concerns. I really want to underline that it's not that we are bad losers and cannot accept that the wine and vin issue didn't go our way for now, but it's actually that we want the same respect to be shown for European concerns as concerns, for instance, for the United States. And this is highly important, because if you're going to keep a consensus model, there are no losers or winners. You have to agree. And so it can't be just, one side being ready to compromise and the other not. So this is really an issue for us, and we will continue to discuss that in Buenos Aires, which is the next rendezvous for the GAC. But it's clear that the model has some problems, and we need to look into that. We have all witnessed the statements made by heads of state, and in particular the Brazilian president, asking for a development of the model, and also I think speaking for many countries that are not part of the Western world. So I think it's very, very important for us to listen to what these countries are saying. I see that the European Parliament has been particularly vocal and active on such themes the last few weeks, and I think it's a true sign of democracy that you've been open to different voices on these issues. Vice President Cruz has been fighting hard to keep the internet open and driving positive change to help Europe's economy and society. And of course, no country, no individual owns the internet, but we do need a clear set of rules so that everybody knows what the rules are and how to play this particular game. But recent week make it even more important that we agree on common principles for internet governance and how decisions are made in all internet-related matters. I already said that Mrs. Cruz has been working to bring barriers down, and this includes the proposal on the connected continent that will be discussed next week at the European Council that I mentioned. But we also must have a clear view what we mean with a multi-stakeholder process. I already mentioned that. We are worried that without a clear definition, everyone will claim that the processes are inclusive and transparent, when in practice they are not, actually. The European Commission believes that Europe can be a model in stewarding values of openness and inclusiveness towards all stakeholders, while at the same time upholding the role of governments, their responsibilities and their obligations to implement the law both on and offline is a fact that we have to keep in mind. We also want to remain committed to the stakeholder model where all can participate, as I said, but then it means that all voices must be heard, because otherwise the model isn't truly multi-stakeholder. So, mindful of diplomatic nuances, we should therefore continue to promote our global discussions on an inclusive, democratic, multilateral and politically sustainable framework for the global governance of the Internet. And here the JIPO initiatives that the Commission has launched half a year ago actually provides a unique possibility to do this, because this is a platform that we hope will be neutral, and it's not driven by one particular country or one particular group, because we really strive for wide ownership of this initiative, and I think we have succeeded because we have partners from many parts of the world, actually. So we will continue to work on this, because we think that this instrument will be very important to have going forward. So we will also soon come forward with strategic views on the issues of internet governance. But Vice President Cruz wants to hear your views, and she has actually launched an online debate with citizens, companies and member states. And we hope that a lot of people, all of you in this room hopefully, but a lot of other people will also help position us in this global dialogue and policy making. I will personally engage next week in the IGF on the role of governments in the multi-stakeholder model, and a lot of time has perhaps been lost, but I think that the momentum is there for some support for a model where governments have a role that reflects both their rights and responsibilities as policymakers online and offline. So it only remains for me to say that I'm looking forward to work with you, those of you who are coming next week to Bali, and thank you very much for your attention.